Typing in a response real fast. So, if you are watching this video, I know I'm starting it just a few moments early. I'm also trying to make sure you can see me in a whole frame. This is going to be a basics class. So, you'll hear me go through postures. I will be doing my best to do the whole flow with you as I talk through it and give you certain cues, things to think about, ways to adjust postures depending on what you're working with. We'll go through a basic variation of Sun A and a basic variation of Sun B. Um, if you feel like looking that up at a later date. Now, from there, I am going to put a little bit of music on. So you'll see me kind of putzing around with my phone for a minute. We still have another minute before this is really supposed to kick off. Uh, Trying to think of anything else to kind of let you guys know and be aware of beyond. This is a very beginner friendly practice. The goal is to help make some of the postures not seem as scary. I'm not going to use a lot of the Sanskrit words. In fact, I don't think I'm going to use any of them. So we'll go through the American variations or English variations of the words and descriptions of the postures. When going through a yoga practice, if you feel anything kind of like jarring or electric pain-wise, back out of it. We can tweak adjustments. We do have a Zoom conference on Sunday to where I can see all of y'all doing your practice and I can help give better cues that way. This is low flow. It's going to be suitable for kids. So if you want to grab your youngin, have them join in with you, go for it. If you don't want your youngin around right now because you've been homeschooling them for the last 2 weeks, that's cool too. So I'm going to get some music going and we'll start looking at getting started. To get started, just find yourself in a comfortable seat. Eyes can close, or you can kind of take a soft gaze where that vision around your edge of vision just kind of gets a little blurry, where you're not really focusing on one thing. So from here, you should be able to see as I move through standing practices as well as me being on the ground. I do have my handy dandy towel off to the side, my couple of extra books that I use to help as props, as well as my makeshift bolster off to the side. And I'm going to just put on a little bit of music because it is eerily quiet and I am not about that. Let's not do my acoustic hip hop playlist. It's nostalgic flow. This is one of my 90s nostalgic flow playlists. So again, you don't have to listen to what I'm playing. You can play your own thing in the background, just follow along visually. If I sound out of breath while I'm going through my practice, just know I don't typically do a class while I talk through it. And there's a 90% chance my dog may hang out. So in a comfortable seat, allow it to look however it needs to. And I just want you to think about breathing, closing your eyes, letting that soft gaze happen, and not really hard focusing. Thank you, Willow. That was my leg. Not really focusing on one thing quite yet. Allow your thoughts to kind of drift in and out, acknowledging that you're having them, but not really grasping or holding on to one thing. Just cool, random thought, let it blow through. If you are somebody who likes to set an intention for a practice or for the time that you're working through, use this next moment or two to come to whatever your intention needs to be. If you need a little bit more of a breakdown, intention can be a word, just something to kind of focus on. For me, I like to go with patience. I'm not a super patient person, so it's something I try to cultivate within myself. Or a positive affirmation of I am enough. I am strong. I am making it. That seems to be a lot of things right now. It could also just be something that brings a smile to your face. I really like that as an intention. Something funny that has happened over the last 2 days that has made you go for that full belly laughter, or just kind of like that smirky, snarky laugh, which is just like a little bit of a relief. So on our next inhale, I want a big rise up, reaching your arms up overhead, getting nice and tall, nice and long. On your exhale, we're going to twist towards your right. Left hand is going to come down to your thigh. Right hand is going to come behind you. Gaze can either be down or starting to look over your shoulder. You don't want to feel anything kind of going through your neck. This is just a gentle, gentle twist here. Inhaling, feeling your chest expand. On your exhaling, twisting just a little bit deeper here. Big full breath in. Exhale, twist a little deeper. 2 to 3 more breaths here. On your next inhale, big reach up overhead. I'm intertwining my fingers together to press my palms to the ceiling. Getting really tall on my exhale. Twisting to the opposite direction. So right hand comes down to left thigh. Left hand comes behind you. Again, gaze is wherever it's comfortable for you. You can look down towards the ground or gently almost over that shoulder. Thinking about twisting through your center mass here, not grabbing onto your thigh and yanking yourself. Lulu's being a little dramatic in front of me. 2 to 3 more breaths here. If you need longer, because this side, it feels really good to kind of go for that twist. Take longer. On your inhale, I'm going to go for another big stretch up overhead. I'm intertwining my fingers. You don't have to. Big reach up. Maybe gaze goes up a little. And we're going to go into tabletop. So with tabletop, your knees are going to stack underneath your hip sockets. Wrists under elbows, under shoulders. Think of lining up either your middle or your index finger with the sides of your mat, just to kind of help give your shoulders a good space. Move through cat and cow. So on your inhale, drop your belly down. Gaze is going to come up. Tailbone's going to point up. On your exhale, curl your spine in like an angry cat. We're going to move through here. Moving with breath, about 8 to 10 breaths here. Once you kind of reach that 5 breath mark, if you want to start adding in a little bit of a slower movement, like so allowing that tailbone to tuck under, and then pressing through that upper back, and then allowing the hips, chest, and head to lift. We're going to start making shoulder circles here. So you're going to drop down, scoop your chest up, some more chest circles. So we're making some chest circles or shoulder circles. 4 to 5 in one direction. 4 to 5 in the other. We're going to get that movement to kind of come more into that rib cage versus the chest. So think about letting the rib cage drop down and scoop up. 4 to 5 in each direction. It's a fun way to kind of play with isolating certain parts of your body. And this is going to move into those hip circles. So I'm going to drop my hips to the side, scoop them up through the front, push my hips back. Coming almost into a child's pose, but not quite. Big circles here. If your hips are really tight, especially along that outer portion of your hip, you might get a nice deep stretch when you drop to the side, push back. I think I have this playlist on shuffle, and I do not need it on shuffle right now. So, first down dog here. To talk a little bit about down dog, there are many different ways to come into it. If your hips are really tight, hamstrings are really tight, or shoulders are really tight, pick one thing to focus on during your down dog. So, hands plant, we're still in that same tabletop position. I like to start by curling my toes under. I keep my knees bent as my hips lift. Hands push my chest back towards my thighs. Then my knees straighten. So you're trying to make an upside down V with your body. Now we're not craning our head to look forward, and we're not tucking chin to chest. Gaze is down about 6 inches behind where your wrist is at. Not 6 inches. Now pedal out your feet. One knee will then drive that opposite heel down to the ground. The more you drive that heel down, the deeper calf and hamstring sensation you may feel. We're going to make our way to the top of the mat where your feet will meet your hands. We're going to start by stepping. Now, if you're not in this position, that's fine. Bend those knees. Allow your upper back and chest to relax. Head relaxes here. Should be all hamstrings, no back. And inhale for a halfway lift. And place your hands on your thighs. Gaze is about a little bit in front of you here. Exhale, fold. You'll root to rise, head comes up last. I like to walk my hands up my legs. Head comes up last. Big full body stretch coming up overhead, getting really long and tall. Hands through to heart center. Nice strong mountain pose here. So, with any sort of standing posture like this, I'm not certain if you can see my feet because I think the dog might be in my way. If you need more assistance with balance, feet stack underneath your hip sockets, just like they would, like your knees would in tabletop. If you want to play with your balance, bring your big toes together, and your heels may not necessarily touch. If they do, cool. More big toes together. We're going to inhale, big lift up, getting nice and tall, nice and long. On your exhale, we're going to fold forward, allowing the hands to come through your midline. Folding forward. Nice deep forward fold here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, bending your knees as much as you need to. Plant your hands. We're going to step back into down dog. Now, hopefully, you should be able to see me if Will is not completely in the way. We're going to move into that high plank. We're going to lower down to knees. Chest is going to come between the hands. Elbows pull back. Chest and chin. Looking like an inchworm here before pulling through. Baby cobra. It's a very small back bend. Chest is being pulled off the mat, or in my case, the carpet, by peeling my shoulders back, pushing my shoulder blades down. There's very little weight in my hands here. Gaze is forward. Come down. Back onto your belly. Push into your tabletop. Meet back in down dog. Now, you can step your feet, or if you want to, you can hop your feet to the top of the mat. Nice deep forward fold here. We're going to add in an additional little bit of time. You can do the Macarena arms. Grab onto opposite elbows. And just let everything hang super heavy here. Shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Two to three more breaths. If this is giving you a really good release, hold it a little longer. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We're going to root to rise. Head comes up last. Hands walk up your thighs here. Big reach up overhead, getting tall. Hands through to heart center. Nice strong mountain here. Cool. So we're going to add a little bit of variation. We just went through Sun A, and I'm also tying my hair back because it's getting in my face. There are a lot of different variations to play with your Sun Salutation A. We're going to do two little tweaks to it. Instead of folding forward, we're going to swan dive forward, where your arms are going to come out to the side. Chest is going to lead. So we're going to try and maintain a nice supported core, a nice supported back here. Fold forward, leading with that chest. Hands plant. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees as much as you need to. Get your hands down and step back into plank rather than down dog. Now, we do tricep push-ups all the time, close grip push-ups. Lower down for a chaturanga. Pull through, up dog. Take a moment here, still thinking about pulling, shoulders down, chest is lifted. We're gonna roll over those toes and push back, down dog. Your feet are gonna make your way towards your hands. So you can step, jump, hop, float to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. You're gonna root to rise, head comes up last. Big full body reach overhead. So, two different variations of Sun A. We spice it up a little, add extra tricep push-up in. You can completely not do a vinyasa at all and just move into that down dog. These are all personal preferences here. Moving through that after eating lunch, not always a good idea, just as a heads up. We're going to move into a variation of Sun B, if I remember all my Sun B correctly. So remember how when I first started with these standing postures where I mentioned feet can be hip socket or feet can be together? It's going to help with your chair pose. So Willow, I would really like it. You can see my feet. Can you move? Can you move for me? No? Okay, fine. So chair pose. Feet can be together. It's going to make your balance a little harder. Or give yourself support here. We're going to hinge our hips back just like we would starting any sort of major lift where the hips will hinge back. Hands can stay at your heart or they can reach up overhead. I like to start at my heart first. So I'm going to hinge my hips back. Keep your rib cage pulled down so we're not hyperextending, getting the big booty tooch going on. Pull the rib cage down, keep the pelvis tucked under. Chair pose. Now, this is not a full squat. It's not meant to be a full squat. It's like you're trying to hover over a chair because it might be either too hot or it might be still a little wet from a rainstorm. Stand here, hands together, and as you start to get comfortable, hands can reach up overhead. Spin those pinky fingers in, pull shoulder blades down. One more breath here. We're going to load the weight into the right leg. Left leg is going to go back. We're going to go into Warrior One. So you'll hear in a yoga class heel to heel or heel to arch alignment. It's going to depend on how open your hips are. Heel to heel, little less twist. Heel to arch, got a lot more twist in the hips going on. So that right hip is going to pull back. Left hip pushes forward. Get nice and deep here. Set yourself up. Rib cage still pulls down. Hands can be at your heart, or they can reach up overhead. I'm still pressing through my back foot, so I'm feeling my whole foot make contact with the back mat. Bye, Willow. A few more breaths here if you need to. Sink a little deeper. We're going to opt for a flow through if you want it. On your exhale, fold forward. Hands frame your foot. Right foot's going to step back. Tall plank. Option to flow through here. And meet back in down dog. Make your way to the top of the mat however you need to. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Root to rise. Big full body reach overhead. You can give yourself a little leg wiggle if you need to. I frequently shake out. I'm also going to grab a sip of water. UNCW, if there's any other UNCW alum watching this. Chair again. So maybe you had like an okay time with chair and you want to spice it up a little bit. I'm going to give it different variation. Make sure you can see my feet in this one. My feet are together. Hips are pulled under, rib cage is pulled down. Hands start at heart. Hips hinge back. Cool. Chair pose. Now to play with balance, I'm going to lift my heels up, come onto my tiptoes. Start to lower down. You can keep your hands at your heart or reach your arms up overhead. Keep your legs engaged by imagining that you're having to hold a block between your knees. And allow those heels to touch down. Weight's going to load into that left leg. Right leg's going to slide back, warrior one. So if you need to readjust, pull that left hip back. Push that right hip forward. Boom. Warrior one. Hands can reach up overhead. Still thinking about keeping that rib cage pulled down. I do a lot of tweaking throughout my whole practice. Two more breaths here. On your exhale, frame your foot. Step back, high plank. You can lower down for a flow through. Up dog, and to down dog. Now we're gonna play with something that translates really well for CrossFit. Getting into a nice deep yogic squat. So I'm gonna pivot so you can see. My gaze is gonna come between my fingertips and I'm gonna jump my feet the outsides of my hands. Yogic squat. You got a towel or blanket nearby, or you can roll up your mat and do this. Just like you would in lifting shoes, elevate your heels. Hands can come together, or if you're not getting enough sensation, fists come together. I'm gonna press those knees out. Now, most of y'all already have like really crazy mobility in my hips. I'm gonna go for a side angle. What you don't want to be doing is this. Completely deloaded, my butt's almost on the ground here. And a little bit of tension and press out. From here, we're just gonna go for a simple twist. Right hand's gonna come down, left arm is gonna reach up. So we do this against the wall, just a nice little twist. Gaze can come up. Should get a nice big old stretch here. Couple breaths here. Now we're kind of going off script. We're done with Sun A, we're done with Sun B. Going to go a little off script to what might help you feel better. Come through the heart center, twist in that opposite direction. Good. Come back through to center. Give ourselves that little like ankle shimmy. Pressing over one ankle, really getting some nice flexion there. Onto the other one. We're going to go through a quick little lunge series. It's one that if you've been to one of my Sunday yoga classes, should be pretty familiar with. So We're gonna move into tabletop. As our pit stop, feel it out. Notice, like maybe give yourself a few wiggles, see how it feels. Notice if this feels different than the first tabletop. We'll move into down dog. We're gonna go on that left side first. So left leg will lift. I'm gonna bend that knee, make some circles here. Big getting small, small getting big. That left foot is gonna step through between the hands. Back knee will drop. Hands can come to your thigh here. We still want to think about pulling that pelvis under and then leaning forward. You need to play with your ankle mobility today. Think about sliding the heel back and pressing that knee forward. We're going to go into either a runner's lunge or a half split. So weight will shift back. That right knee is making a 90-degree angle. Front leg straightens. Left hip pulls down. Right hip pushes forward. Half split. You can fold forward here. Leading the chest down versus bringing your forehead down and rounding that upper back and breathing into your chest. Thinking long and folding. Now that runner's lunge variation, we're just going to set our butt back onto the heel, still leaning forward. That lean forward and that pull back of the hip is going to give you nice hamstring stretch here. Now, you can point and flex your foot. Few breaths here. So, from this half split, we're going to go into lizard lunge. Weight will shift forward. That left foot's going to heel toe out of the way. Heel is in towards my body. My toes are going to point out. I'm going to lower down my forearms. If you feel nothing in this posture, a little cue or a little tip to feel it deeper, lift that back knee. We're going to keep that right arm or hand planted. That left hand's gently going to press on the inner thigh. So we're pressing our knee away from our body. Gaze can come up if it's comfortable for you. If it's not, you don't do it. When you're ready, hands will come in underneath your shoulders. Pigeon pose. That left foot's going to heel toe over towards your right wrist. You can bring your heel in towards your body or try and get that shin parallel to the top of the mat. Big lift up. Come down here. This is causing pain, like that kind of jarring electric pain. A couple of variations you can do. You can turn this to figure four on your back. You can also back out of the pose a little bit by bringing that heel in, or turn it into a 90-90 stretch and fold forward. If your hip is popping up, I got Deathly Hollows right here. Slide it underneath the hip that's popping up. Give yourself a little bit of support here. And now we talk about our life feelings, or maybe because you've been going through this practice, and hopefully you guys can hear me really well, I'm hoping. I want you to think back to whatever intention you started with your practice. For me, it was like patience, because I try to cultivate patience. I'm rushing my words here. It's like, okay, I need to slow down. Maybe you took up whatever made you smile in the last couple of days. I had a lovely Zoom conference with some people on our team, and It was a little bittersweet because it made me miss everyone a lot, but also hearing the full belly laughs of everybody, myself included, I think may have snorted on that call, was just what I needed that day. So we're going to slide the book out of the way. Hands are going to come underneath the shoulders. Do the same sequence on the right side. So back toe's going to curl under. I'm going to press back into down dog. Right knee's going to bend. We're going to draw some circles here. Small getting big, big getting small. Equal number each direction. And then we're going to go for that low lunge on the right side. Hopefully, guys, you can't see how much dog hair is on my black pants. They're almost gray with the amount of white dog hair on them. So in your low lunge, again, if you want to play with that ankle mobility, slide that heel in. We're going to get a big hip stretch. Focus on that. Still trying to keep that pelvis pulled under, rib cage pulled down. Few breaths here. Notice how this side feels different compared to the other, or just enjoy the feeling here. When you're ready, half split, allowing that right leg to straighten, right hip pulls back, left hip pushes forward. We'll fold forward here. Ooh, that right hamstring is so much tighter than the left. Pointing and flexing your toes here. Just kind of moving through that range of motion. Again, you can always do that runner's lunge if you need it. Or if you have that Harry Potter book nearby, slide it up underneath your hand. Embrace your hands on it. Bring the world a little closer to you. More breaths. If this feels really good and you need to hold on to it, go for it. You know what's coming next. We're going lizard lunge. Weight will shift forward. Right foot's going to heel toe out of the way. Right heel is in towards my body. My toes are pointing out. By doing that, I'm giving my hips a little more space so I can sink down. And again, Harry Potter's nearby. You can bring your forearms to Harry Potter. I feel like that would be a euphemism for something. Maybe. You can curl that back toe under, lift those hips maybe. And I encourage you to kind of like wiggle it out, shift side to side. Help relieve whatever tightness you're feeling. Left-handed forearm stays planted. We're going for that twist. Taking that right hand to the inside of the right thigh, not on the knee. Right thigh, press the knee away from your body. When you're ready, untwist, pigeon pose. Bring that right foot across your body. Hope my voice isn't cracking like I'm going through puberty. Make any adjustments you need to. Bring that book underneath your hip, taking it to figure four, and then easing yourself into whatever variation of the posture you need today. We're going for a stretch on the outer hip. There should not be pain in your knee. If there's pain, back out, go to figure four on your back. Or you just might be really, really tight. You can stay propped up, or as it's feeling comfortable, you can bring yourself all the way down to the mat. We're going to be here for at least another 3 to 4 breaths. If you need more time, you take more time. It's your practice. I'm just digitally guiding you through it. We're gonna move into cobbler's pose. So we're gonna come out of pigeon, one of my favorite ways. That right cheek is gonna come down to the ground. We're gonna spin those that left leg around in front of you. A little further back so you can see. Feet are coming together. Heels are sliding in towards my body. Hands are either coming to my ankles. They can also press down on my knees or reach forward as I fold. We're getting a lot of sensation in that inner hip area. You might get a little bit into that upper hip. And maybe a little something on the low back, depending on how your posture is when you're working from home. Three more breaths here. If you need more, take more. We're going to come up. Heels are going to bump out in front of us. We're making much more of a diamond shape with the body. By that slight adjustment from the heels in to being out, we're going to change that sensation to inner thigh to a lot more of that outer hip area. Get yourself nice and tall before you fold forward. Allowing your breathing to smooth out here. Letting it not be burdened and rushed, just full and calming. If it helps, I'm a big fan of doing the big exasperated sigh. That big full inhale and the exhale. Sigh it out. Nice big inhale. Sigh it out. We're going to walk our hands up. Come into whatever comfortable seat you need to. We're going to wrap up today's practice and get a little closer. No, let's play with a little thing. Let's play with a couple of things rather than wrapping up. We're going to spin around to the side. I'm going to spin around. You can spin however you want to. We're going to go bridge pose. So feet are going to be hips width distance apart. They're going to come in towards your bum. We're going to walk ourselves back here. Chin is going to tuck as our hips lift. So you can hold a block between your knees. As you get comfortable, hands can walk underneath you, keeping chin tucked here. Big squeeze. One shoulder blade's going to walk out, then the other. We're going to lower our upper back, mid back, low back down to the mat. Drop your knees side to side. Make sure you guys can see me all right for this next view. We're going to do one more bridge. In that third set, you can stick with bridge, or we're going to go through wheel, and I'm going to talk about wheel pose. Because Sunday, I'm going to try and show you how to help spot with wheel pose. So I need you to know what I'm talking about when I go there. Heels are going to be in towards your bum. You're going to pretend like you're holding a block between your knees. Chin tucks, hips lift, shoulders walk underneath. Your glutes are squeezed here, hips are pressed up. And we're going to walk shoulder blades out. upper, mid, low back. Drop your knees side to side. So, to set up for wheel pose, make sure you can see my silhouette well enough against this white half wall. Feet are in the same position. Hands are what changes. You're gonna spin fingertips in, hands by your ears. You're gonna lift to the crown of your head first before pressing up and lifting your chest towards the ceiling. So when you're ready, lift to the crown of the head before pressing all the way up. Now, you can come up onto your tiptoes. You wanna think about pressing your chest through. Knees are still together here. Trying to talk in this position is very hard. Lower your head down when you're ready to break the posture. Mid, upper, mid, lower back. Knees are gonna hug into your chest, rock back and forth here. Moving into a happy baby, bring those knees in towards your armpits. Hands are gonna reach outside edges of your feet. Two more kind of fun poses gonna come up. We're gonna do shoulder stand, which has a little sequence that follows it. Then we're gonna finish off with fish pose. So shoulder stand, there's a lot of ways to get into it. And on Sunday, I'm gonna hopefully have my husband free and I'm gonna make him be my guinea pig so I can demo things. For shoulder stand, it's very hard for me to talk through it. So I'm gonna tell you a few things right off the bat. You wanna support your low back. Your chin has to stay tucked, otherwise you're gonna put a lot of pressure on your neck. You're gonna press your heels into the sky, squeeze your butt, squeeze your knees together. So, I like to roll into mine. My legs are straight. My hands are down by my side so I can easily come up and support my back. Squeeze up. So in this position here, I'm trying to wrap my elbows in as close as I can. Chin is tucked. I'm gonna move into plow pose. Toes are gonna come behind my head. Deaf man's pose. I'm gonna roll out with as much control as I can. So that quick little series you just saw is because I also realized you probably couldn't hear me talk through it because I was talking into my chest. When you move into shoulder stand, you want your elbows to wrap in close to help support your weight. You don't want those elbows kind of chicken winging out. Pressing through your heels to reach to the sky. We're trying to create as long of a line as possible. We don't want like the banana back to happen. So if you went to John Mark's gymnastics seminar, the handstand clinic, we want as straight of a line as possible. Mine's all right, my shoulder stand's okay. It's not something I typically practice. Moving into plow pose, toes can touch the ground behind you, or what I typically do in my personal practice is I will have a stool or the wall behind me so my toes can touch to that, to where I'm not putting a lot of additional pressure on my neck and keeping myself tucked in. I think that was a notification that my battery is low. One moment, guys. There we go. You don't realize how draining that can be on a battery. So going from that transition between shoulder stand to deaf man's pose, that chin absolutely has to stay tucked. You want to support your back until you can let your arms go flat or long without putting a lot of pressure on yourself. So you can keep yourself supported. If you need to make the posture deeper, that's when your arms extend out. Deaf man's pose is a way to transition out of it that requires a little less core strength from going from that plow to shoulder stand. By bending your knees and bringing your knees to the outsides of your ears, hence what we call it deaf man's pose, you're taking a little bit of the pressure off your neck because you're getting yourself in a nice little tucked ball form. And it's much easier to roll out of the posture than to go from plow to shoulder and then lower yourself back down from there. So if that's the sequence that you want to play with, there you go. I will be doing a variation of this on the Zoom meetings as a way to kind of like talk about it this Sunday. Now, the counter pose to shoulder stand is called fish pose. I like it as a great way to open up your chest because we just spend a lot of time doing this. And especially a lot of us have probably spent a lot of time doing this on the computer. Fish pose. Setup is almost reminiscent of a hybrid of bridge and a forward fold. So, getting up nice and long here. Legs are out in front of you. My arms are going to come behind me, and I'm going to make a diamond, essentially for my hips to come under. I want my forearms tucked in as close as I can make it. So, I'm coming down. I'm going to make that diamond with my hands and sit on my hands. Now, my elbows and forearms are wrapping up underneath my body to lift my chest up. So I'm pressing through my forearms here. Head drops back. When you're ready, elbows walk out, lower down to the mat. And there you go. You can lay back. I'm just going to talk here. So you can stay in that nice little stretched out position. Make yourself comfortable however you need to make it look. Meaning if you want to grab that Harry Potter book and put it underneath your hips, put it between your shoulder blades, rest your head on it. Maybe you've got like pillows nearby. You can make yourself comfortable here. And I just want you to focus on breathing. Giving yourself nice, big, full inhales, feeling it lift through the chest, through the belly, getting big. On your exhales, feel yourself sink into the earth. Whether you're on the second floor and you're on carpeting, or maybe you're outside. I definitely consider doing this outside today. Just a little too chilly for my liking. But just big, full breaths, feeling everything big, feeling yourself take up space. Allowing yourself to take up space. And then on your exhale, allowing any tension held in your shoulders to release. Any tension held in your hips, your feet. I hold tension in my feet, it's weird. But allowing your toes to spread apart and relax. Allowing your hands to unclench and relax open. Maybe making some funny faces at the ceiling, rolling that jaw around. Scrunching the forehead and releasing it. Keeping yourself nice and big here. And while you're breathing, I want to offer just a few things. If you've taken a yoga class with me before, you may have heard me say these before. But let me backtrack. If you cannot let something go, learn to let it be. Often in today's society, we talk about, let go of what doesn't serve you. Cool. Easy enough in theory. But think about it. Think of your breath, like the current of a river. Whatever that river can't move out of the way, can't let it go off to the shore banks, it smooths it out. It turns it into river stone. So if you can't let something go, can't let it be pushed out of your stream onto the banks, Let it be. Let your breathing, let life smooth over those rough edges. To let it tumble and rest and lie where it needs to. And now you hear the dog. She can't let the fact that there's a dog outside be. So she's going to go make a ruckus about it. So, if you can't let something be, let it go. If you can't let it go, let it be. Everything can be a process, and you don't have to let it go right away. Let it run its course, whatever it may be. We have a big it around us right now. We gotta let it run its course, do its thing. And that's that. I want to thank you so much for letting me guide you in your practice. You can push yourself into a comfortable seat, or you can stay relaxing for a minute, because this might be the only time you've gotten to yourself all day, especially those of you who have kids at home. I'm fortunate to where I just have a very loud dog and a husband who has noise canceling headphones on. So chill as long as you need to. When you're ready, I'm going to sign off by bringing my hands to my heart to offer you kind thoughts, my mouth for kind words, and my heart for good intentions. Thank you for letting me guide your practice. I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday night at 8 p.m. Subscribe, send this to your friends. Bye, guys.